Boom. Sup, y'all. Welcome back to the Rare-athon presented by Original Gamers Podcast and CrossForge Gaming. This is our first break. We've been on the air for 12 hours. 12 hours now. We did a podcast about GoldenEye, which, as we explained before, we unfortunately will not be able to stream due to my technical limitations and everybody else's lack of owning a copy of the game. But we've been playing a lot of really good games. Well, I played a lot of really dumpy games from way back in Rare's history when they were called, what was it? Ultimate Play Games?
Ultimate Play the Game.
That was the name of their company. I played some good ones. I played RC Pro AM, Snake Rattle and Roll. If you can get past the weird controls, is really good. That ski game, Slalom, wasn't bad. It was, I could see if you got really good at it, that being fun. But most of them, like Jetpack and whatever else, Saberwolf, yeah.
Attic Attack.
The Attic Attack was one. Those were, maybe if I knew what I was supposed to be trying to accomplish, it wouldn't have been so bad. But those were rough. So the early days. There's Nolan. How's it going, buddy?
Hello, sir.
Did you get enough sleep? Hello? I don't know if he can hear me.
Hello?
Just keep going.
Hello, we can hear you. All right.
Hello? Hello?
Well, I'm going to keep talking. This poor guy has been having so much trouble with his headset. I'm going to keep going. Yeah, yes. We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Let me, just in case.
Can you hear me?
Here, let me see.
Hello?
We can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hear you.
I can't. Okay, because I can't hear you guys at all.
All right, so while he figures that out. So just a reminder, this is to raise money for Extra Life and Le Bonheur Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. We got a $25 donation before the stream, and we haven't got one since, but that's okay. It was in the middle of the night. I honestly didn't expect there to be a whole lot of activity. But we had a little bit of a crowd. We had some people come in and join us. We had the I feel like you've made it when somebody feels like your stream is important enough to show up in your chat and say something very vulgar. And that happened last night. So that's it. We've made it. We've hit the top. It's all downhill from here. But yes, we're at $25. That was donated to us, or not really to us, to Extra Life by community member Nathan Davis. He's a good guy. He was our first patron. He was the first person to buy a t-shirt. Like, he bought a t-shirt before even any of us bought one. And
still don't have one. I need to do that.
Yes, you should. And he's our first donor. So yeah, he's a really good guy. He's a strong supporter of what we're doing here. So for those of you out there who don't know what Extra Life is, they collect money and they send all of it. That is 100% of the money donated through these events to the children's hospital that was chosen by the team that raised it. You can do children's hospitals all over the country, all over the world. We picked Le Bonheur mostly just because there's not one in particular that any of us had a strong attachment to, but I used to live in Memphis, Tennessee, and I know that Le Bonheur is a really good one that's right there in that town. So I accidentally smacked my my mic stand, so I hope that didn't make a horribly loud noise.
Not too loud.
That's good.
Not too bad.
So all the money goes to Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. It's unrestricted, so the hospital gets to decide what they want to do with it. If they want to spend it on cancer research, they can do that. If they want to spend it on beds, they can do that. If they want to spend it on adding to their building or MRI machines or whatever they need, they get to decide that. And I think that's really cool. There's a lot of places that will donate money to hospitals, and they'll be like, we want this money to go to, I don't know, diabetes research. And that's good and all, but the hospital may be in a situation where they already have plenty of money for diabetes research, and maybe that money would be better spent somewhere else. So I like it because the doctors who work there are the ones deciding where the money goes. Well, okay,
Probably the board.
The administrators are the ones deciding this. I guess they're not necessarily doctors. They, but anyway, so that's a cool thing that we're doing. So our goal is $500. If we get to that goal before the stream is over, for every hour that we're still live, I will give away a game. So if somebody right now went and donated $475, then I would give away 12 games or 11 games.
Yeah.
I'd have to fit something like that. I'd just figure the math out. So, and that's from a list of games that I have, mostly from Humble Bundle that I just haven't redeemed. I have most of the Assassin's Creeds in that list. I have a bunch of Sonic the Hedgehogs. I've got 2 copies of The Witness, which I hear is a really good game. I don't own The Witness, and I'm probably going to keep one of those copies for myself. But that still means I'll have one of those to give away. I just gave away Super Time Force to somebody the other day, so that's not on the list anymore. But those are the kinds of games that I have. I also have games that no one's ever heard of because, you know, Humble Bundles come with big AAA titles, and they come with little
Weird
dummy
little
games that nobody cares about. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty wide range of stuff. So and I'll go through and figure out a game to give away. Also, if we get to 100 subscribers, that contest is still going on. If when we get to 100 subs, I'll let one person who is subscribed to the YouTube channel go through that list and actually pick the game that they want. So the contest for us hitting our goal, I'm going to go through and pick random games. I may contact the person who's winning it that hour and be like, hey, you know, here's 4 games. What do you want? But the person who wins the contest for us getting to 100 subs, I'm actually just going to give them the list and go, look, just pick one. And then that way they get something they don't have, and they get something that they like and all that stuff. Oh, I did get a couple codes. Humble Bundle has, what do you call it? The Walking Dead Season 1, the Telltale game. They're giving codes for that away for free. And I had a few people go and snag codes and give it to me. So I'll have a few copies of that if you missed that. That's the only Telltale game that I've played any amount of, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't finish it, not because I didn't like it. I just got distracted with other things.
So you're telling me you never played a Strong Bad School game for attractive people?
Oh, you know, was that them?
That was them. That was one of their first games.
Yes, I played episode 1 and 2. I don't know that I finished it.
Yeah.
But and I had that for Wii.
Yeah, that was the big thing, is there was an actual Strong Bad game on an actual Nintendo console.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So, yeah, I do. But yeah, like I said,
wasn't any of those silly browser-based games that they had made.
Mm-hmm. So that was a lot of fun. All right, we're just gonna spend the next few minutes here talking a little bit. It gives us a break from playing games. As much as we all love playing games, playing them for hours and hours on end can be exhausting. Just like anything.
We really need a break.
So Joel has actually spent the last 8 hours and 15 minutes was what the timer was at when he stopped playing Banjo-Kazooie. I was up for maybe the first hour of it, and then I crashed and went to bed. Nolan, how long did you make it?
It was about 3 hours ago is when I went to sleep.
Crashed.
Yeah.
All right. So you were hoping to beat it, right, Joel? But you didn't quite get
Not
there.
quite. I had some trouble in levels 8 and 9. So,
how many jiggies away are you?
7.
Okay. So you get pretty darn close.
Yeah.
not bad for playing it from beginning to end
Mm-hmm.
all at once. And then Nolan, you were having some trouble with your Xbox One and your stream. You got all that sorted out, you think?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be playing some Battletoads, huh?
For some period, not the entire
Yeah.
time, because
you're, not gonna,
frankly,
you're not gonna play 8 hours of Battletoads?
Wait a
no,
minute.
I'm not.
You mean to tell me you're not going to beat the game
No, I'm not.
in
Well,
2 hours? Come
remember,
on.
you're playing on Rare Replay, so when you get to the speeder bike level or whatever it is,
Just
every time you
rewind.
crash, you can just rewind.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's more a matter of getting to the speeder bike level of having difficulty, but
Come on,
That's
take
true.
the warps.
that's no easy feat.
I shouldn't talk. I've never played the game.
I'm like,
It's
just sitting there. I'm like,
I feel like I know somebody who really hates that game, but I don't.
Everything I know about that game is awesome, and one of these days I'll pick it up on my NES and actually play it
Mhm.
with a Game Genie.
yeah.
Indeed.
Put in infinite lives and just power through.
I did see that one of the Battletoads, and I don't know which one. What are their names? I just remember
It's
Zip.
Rash, Zitz, and Pimple.
Yeah.
It's so
And
gross.
Pimple and the princess got kidnapped by the Dark Queen.
Okay.
That's the story of the NES game.
The whole point of it, yeah.
So you can only play as Rash and Zitz then.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're one player, then you're Rash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so one of them is in the newest season of Killer Instinct on Xbox One. I was noticing.
I think it's Rash.
Probably Rash.
Yeah. So, and if you're not familiar with that, the Killer Instinct is a free-to-play game, and what they do is they rotate the fighters out. You can buy them or buy, a season pass. And actually, them calling this a season pass makes sense because they'll do a season where they rotate through a select number of characters, and then that season's done, and then they start a new season where they've got new characters. Oftentimes, sometime after the season is over, that season pass will be free with Xbox Live Games with Gold. So if you're just patient enough, you'll get all the characters for free. But if you're really into the game, and as I understand, the Killer Instinct scene is actually like what's not huge, but the people who like it are really, really into it, and it's big enough that they have some events and stuff.
I mean, they get to Evo, so.
So I played a Killer Instinct game. I can't remember if I played on the Super Nintendo or if I played the N64 one, but it was only very, very briefly. I didn't really get it. Fighting games back then were things I didn't understand. I've never been good at Street Fighter. I've never been good at Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm really into Soul Calibur, and I like Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
and I understand how Tekken works, even though I'm not very good
Yeah.
at it. But all those combo based games like Mortal Kombat and stuff, I never
Street Fighter and all that. Yeah.
I never understood them.
Street
well
Fighter
enough.
invented combos on accident. I think we talked about that.
I think we did. The whole quarter circle, some button, and you do a thing. And that was cool about Ryu being in Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Is all of his moves you could do by inputting the Street Fighter button combos. And I think if you do it that way, the move's actually a little bit more powerful
Yes, it
than
is.
if you just do it normally. So there's a little piece of trivia for you that has nothing to do with Rare.
True.
No, but you know who should be in Smash? Banjo-Kazooie.
Indeed. And Phil Spencer has said he's cool with it.
Yeah, it's just Nintendo or Sakurai or somebody.
Though I wonder, like when Phil Spencer's
Shovel
like,
Knight.
"Yeah, we're cool with it," he's probably also like, "Yeah, pay us that licensing fee."
Yeah, right. A competitor, give us money.
Yeah, give us $1 billion and you can have your bear back. They should put Conker in Smash Brothers. No.
didn't
Speaking
know how
of,
that would work.
see, you remember Diddy Kong Racing
Yep, I have it.
had some characters in it that had not been in games yet. So Banjo had already
Yeah.
been in Banjo Kazooie.
No,
No,
no.
Banjo Kazooie came out after
Diddy
Diddy
Kong
Kong.
Racing was the introduction for a lot of characters. So
Okay.
Banjo, Conker, Tip Top.
Yeah.
And most of them were supposed to get their own games.
Right,
Mhm.
and I was like, so those characters that never got their own games, does Rare still own them, or did they somehow stick back with Nintendo?
I don't know, because some of them are part of the Donkey Kong universe. Like there is a Kremlin character. I can't remember his name,
Mhm.
but like the Kremlings, whatever. They're part of Donkey Kong Country. Like they're the main
Yeah.
enemy. So I would imagine that particular character is still owned by Nintendo.
Mhm.
But like, Tipsy the Mouse or Timber the Tiger or some of these other characters, like, does Rare own them? Probably.
Yeah, I don't know, because it would be
I think-
cool to see him do something. They should bring back Pig,
Oh my gosh.
the bad guy.
Such a stupid enemy. And the first race against him is impossibly difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I really liked that game though; it was really good.
It was really good. Yes, I beat it twice. I did the gold balloons and the silver balloons, which is mirror mode.
That did get a V. I know we talked about. Did it get a VC release at some point? Oh, I know we
It
discussed
got a
last night.
DS release,
Yeah, so I know it got a DS release. Let me see.
but no, it's never been on Virtual Console.
Diddy Kong Racing.
Probably
Um,
because unlike the Donkey Kong Country games and Donkey Kong 64, there's just too many original characters.
right. Well, that's what I was thinking.
Well, like
If
Banjo and Conker, or
right, and I was thinking if Nintendo retained the rights to the other characters that didn't get games, if they just replaced Banjo and Conker with something else.
yeah, well, like
Um,
Tipped Up the Turtle is the character in the Banjo Kazooie games, and he's in Diddy Kong Racing
okay,
also.
yeah.
So, and he was supposed to get his own game, and that never happened. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep. And Microsoft bought Rare, and then Perfect Dark Zero happened.
well, it was mainly because Conker was so difficult to develop. He was like the next in line after Banjo, and that was such a hard game that like they were in trouble. And then they started making Dinosaur Planet, which became Star Fox Adventures, and that was the final nail in the coffin.
Yep. Did Conquer didn't require the N64 expansion pack, did it?
I don't think so.
I don't think
I don't
so.
remember that being a thing that it did. Anyway. Yeah. We like Rare. Especially like the music that Rare puts out. David
Yes.
Wise and Grant Kirkhope
They're amazing.
are two of the most phenomenal music composers in the video game industry. I don't know if I dare say that they're my favorites, because then that means that I'm saying that Koji Kondo and or Nobuo Uematsu, Nintendo and Final Fantasy respectively.
Mhm.
I just find it hard to say that I like composers better than the two of them, but they're definitely up there. And those two guys, yeah, of course, obviously Koji Kondo is still doing stuff. Nobuo Uematsu is not technically an employee with Square anymore, but he still does like contracting work for them on occasion. So he's still doing stuff. But I know David Wise and Grant Kirkhope get called upon to do a lot of stuff. Grant Kirkhope did I mentioned this last night. He did the soundtrack for the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, whatever that nonsense name of a game is. It just came out for Switch recently. I'm pretty sure David Wise did some work on Ukulele. Did he? I don't know. Or maybe that was Kirkhope also. Now I'm going to find out. Let's see. Lele. And if you if you live under a rock and for some reason don't know what ukulele is, that's the game that a bunch of Rare developers left Rare and started Platonic Games, and they kickstarted this game. And it was supposed to come out on, well, it did come out on PS4, Xbox One, and Steam. It was supposed to come out on Wii U, but then it came out around the time that the Wii U was slowly dying, or
Yeah,
at the end of its slow death. I guess the Wii U had been slowly dying since the day it launched. So it switched to Nintendo Switch. I literally did not mean for that pun.
Are you sure?
I'm absolutely positive. It also is out on Linux and Mac OS. And it was published by Team 7, who is famous for the Worms games. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, okay. Grant Kirkhope and David Wise both contributed to the music of Ukulele, and a guy named Steve Burke. I feel like his name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I want to say I should know that name.
He did music for Star Fox Adventure, so he's been with these Rare guys for a little while. He also did work on Cameo, which I might play a little bit of. I won an Xbox 360. I know I've told the story on the show before. There was a contest that Mountain Dew was doing before the 360 launched, and they gave away an Xbox 360 every 10 minutes, and I won one of those 360s. So I got the system a week early. It came with Madden. I guess that would have been Madden 06, because the 360 came out the end of 05, and Cameo. And I don't actually know what happened to either one of those discs, because they weren't digital. Back then, you couldn't get your 360 games digitally. You could get arcade games digitally, but they had something like a 50 megabyte cap on the size of them. It was, and that wasn't like a technical limitation. I think it was Microsoft being like, we're going to put this limit on people to see, what kind of games come out of there being a tiny file size, which did result in some interesting games, and I think had a lot to do with the indie scene kind of getting big, because a lot of indie developers were putting their games on Xbox Live Arcade and then later on the PlayStation Store. And there for a while, the Vita was kind of where all the indie games went, even well after Sony kind of stopped supporting the Vita. But now the Switch seems to be where all the indie developers are going, and I would imagine that has a lot to do with the fact that the architecture of the Switch is basically an Android tablet, just not running Android, but all the guts of the Switch itself are it's right, because it's running an NVIDIA Tegra and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, so this Steve Burke guy, so yeah, Star Fox Adventures, Cameo. The soundtrack to Cameo was scored with the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra, so that's pretty cool. He scored Viva Pinata along with Grant Kirkhope, Jetpack Refueled, Viva Pinata Pocket Paradise with help from David Wise, Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, again with Kirkhope. He made sound effects for Perfect Dark Zero, Conquer Live and Reloaded, and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, the best Banjo-Kazooie game.
Well, all three of those games are just winners.
Yeah, undisputed champions of I was going to say the series that they're in, but Conquer's not really a series. Conquer just keeps getting the same game re-released or remade. Imagine if Nintendo was like, Mario Brothers 1 is the pinnacle of side scrollers, and we're just gonna keep re-releasing it and never make another one. That's Conker's story right there,
essentially.
So Burke is co-composing music for ex-Rare developer Platonic Games Ukulele, along with David Wise and Grant Kirkhope. Yeah, so there you go. Steve Burke must be a good guy if he's hanging out with David Wise and Grant Kirkhope.
What's funny is the way you say Burke, and I know you're saying Burke with a K, but it almost sounds like Bert. And Steve Burt is the name of the pastor that founded my church.
Oh yeah.
He still attends, but he's not in charge anymore. He stepped down a while back because he just needed to.
I never heard of a guy whose last name was Burt. It's usually first name, and then I think of Bert and Ernie.
It's spelled different. It's almost like Burke, but with a T.
With a T.
Yeah,
so B-U-R-T-E.
Or I think it's double T, but yeah.
Double T. Double T, like butt.
Or it might just be one T, B-U-R-T. Is it B-E-R-T? Because Bert is short for Robert. So that's why it's with an E.
All right.
Anyway.
So yeah. That's that. We're let me refresh this. See if we've Oh hey, we're up to $40. Let's see who
Awesome.
I know I can see who donated. I have to figure out how to see that though. Give me a minute here and I will thank this person properly. Let me see if I go to the roster. And it was donated to Nolan Brown.
Hey.
So congratulations, Nolan. You got a $15 donation.
Thank you.
And that person was Anifix. So
Sweet.
thank you, Assad. You're what is it? You're a scholar and a gentleman. I know that has to do with this.
You're a good person. We like you.
Yes, we like you. So Joel's losing. That's what we learned.
It's okay. I just put in the most work so far. That's all.
That's true. You have definitely put in the most work. And my donation actually came before the stream. So I got my donation by doing zero work.
Absolutely.
That's not true. I put a lot of work I put a lot of work into the video and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, you did. You made that awesome video, which is
that
cool.
That video. Oh my gosh, I got done with it. And if you haven't seen it, it's attached to the event on the Facebook page. I took the rare opening. The opening logo from Donkey Kong Country 2, and I picked that one specifically because I liked the music better than I did from the first Donkey Kong Country, but the animation is the same. So it's the Rare logo comes up in like this wireframe thing, and then what you see is the Nintendo logo in silver, and it's shining, and there's flashing lights all over it, and then that fades away to copyright the year that the game came out. Nintendo, just in real basic green. So I left the Rare logo in there and all the music, and I kind of did the Original Gamers podcast to look a little bit like the Nintendo logo does. And then I added 4 sparkles, and that's just because it took me an hour to figure out how to do that in After Effects by watching a video on YouTube. And by the time I added the 4 sparkles, I was like, you know what? That's good enough. They'll get the point. And moved on. And then the copyright year Nintendo is replaced with 2017 Original Gamers Podcast. I didn't put the copyright symbol there because I was like, what the crap am I copywriting? This logo that I stole off the internet? No. So and then
all the assets are stolen, so
right.
You can't copy.
So then I faded that into just a still graphic of what the event was and when it starts. So that was the video that's on the event and the video that are on YouTube are a little bit different, because the video on the event, the graphic at the very end says see check below for details or something like that. The other one tells you where to go to find more information. And I accidentally deleted the Photoshop file, or I didn't save the Photoshop file of the end graphic before I changed it for the other video, and I didn't feel like remaking it. So I just opened the video up in Premiere, took a screenshot of the graphic at the end, and then superimposed over the top of it the changes. But then when I tried to add the fade in effect, you could see what was underneath it. So that didn't work. So it's just the graphic fades in with a black bar over the top of what I don't want you to see, and then the replacement text just abruptly appears and then goes
there
away.
is a way to fix that. I think
I'm
it
sure
would have
there
taken a
is.
little more work in Photoshop
Yeah,
than just a
but
screenshot. But yeah.
by the time I had done all of this, I had been working on this thing for 2 hours because I'm still very much I can edit video and I'm very quick at that, but when it comes to doing any sort of animation or graphics, most of my time making it is actually spent watching and rewatching a YouTube video that I found that's going to show me how to do it, because I just don't know my way around After Effects and stuff very well.
After Effects is hard.
After Effects is very hard. It's very powerful, and I'm very glad that I have it at my disposal. And I'm sure there are people who know it well enough, and they know all the hotkeys that they're just, it's like somebody typing, but I'm not there. So
yeah.
After I spent 2 hours on it, and then I go and get my wife, and I'm like, babe, look at this thing that I made. And, and she was really excited because she's really supportive. And actually, I want to take a minute to give her a shout out. She has given up our bedroom for me to be able to do this. She slept on the couch for most of the night. And then like around 4 o'clock in the morning, she woke up and then came in here and climbed into bed next to me. But now she's back out in the living room watching Netflix on the Wii U, because we usually use the Xbox One for Netflix, and I have it in here to do this. So she's been super supportive, and not only is that really cool, but I know there's a lot of people out there who, if their spouse came up to them and said, babe, I want to play video games for charity for 24 hours, they'd look at them and go, you're just looking for an excuse to play video games for 24 hours, and would not be okay with that. So she's super awesome. And and she's not just has she been supportive of this charity event, but she's been real supportive of my work at CrossForge Gaming just in general. But anyway, so I bring her in here to watch the video, and I'm really excited, and she's really excited too. But then she kind of looks at me and she goes, it took you 2 hours to make that? And I'm like, hush. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm
the
lucky.
Thing is, you don't know what you're doing, and it only took you 2 hours.
Right. And, and I even showed her the original, and she didn't say anything, but I know she was thinking, like, there's a lot more sparkles on the Nintendo logo than on the one that I made. And I could see it in her face, like I see what you're going for, but it doesn't really look like that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I added the 4, and that took me long enough. And I went, that's good enough. And sometimes good enough really is good enough.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's we're coming up on 11 o'clock Eastern. So I think I'm taking the next shift. I don't know what I'm going to play. I'm going to open up Rare Replay and go in there, and I'll play for a few hours. And then I think we're going to get Nolan up in here, and you can watch him bash his head up against the wall over and over and over again, playing Battletoads and whole bunch.
And then I'm going to switch to something else, depending on what
you
have not played yet. Because there's no way I can play Battletoads for the entire time. It's not going to happen.
I know, not for the sake of your sanity, anyway.
Yeah, no.
So, all right. So again, because of how YouTube works, when we go away from here, you're actually going to have to navigate away from this. If you go to the front page of our YouTube channel, you'll see us live, and then you'll have to come to another link when we do the end of the show at 9 o'clock Eastern. So there's that. We'll figure out a way to make it so that we're not having to bounce around from link to link, even if that means having to do this on Twitch or something next time. So thanks for watching. We're going to take a real quick break, and I'll be back with some more Rare Replay. Thanks a lot. Love you guys, and I'll see you in a few minutes.